Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nishtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki Durlabhamanusho deho dehinam shanabhangurai tatrapi durlabham manye Vaikuntha priya darshinaha Mad eka bandhu mad sangam mad guru mad manadhana Manistraka mad bhagya mad ananda namostute. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 7, the deliverance of Trnavartasura. So we read till text 17 yesterday, and completed the story of Śrī. And now we move on to the next part, which is text number 18 onwards, where the story of Trnavarta, the wind, the whirlpool demon, comes. So let's start this beautiful pastime of Lord. Ekada roham arudam lalayanti sutam sati garimanam shishorvodam nasehe giri kutavat. Translation and purport by Abhishara Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One day, a year after Krishna's appearance, Mother Yashoda was patting her son on her lap, but suddenly she felt the child to be heavier than a mountain peak, and then she could no longer bear his weight. Purport: Lalayanti. Sometimes a mother lifts her child, and when the child falls in her hands, the child laughs, and the mother also enjoys pleasure. Yashoda used to do this, but this time Krishna became very heavy, and she could not bear his weight. Under the circumstances, it is to be understood that Krishna was aware of the coming of Trnavartasura, who would take him far away from his mother. Krishna knew that when Trnavarta came and took him away from his mother's lap, Mother Yashoda would be greatly bereaved. He did not want his mother to suffer any difficulty from the demon. Therefore, because he is the source of everything, Janmadi Asya Yataha, he assumed the heaviness of the entire universe. The child was in the lap of Yashoda, who was therefore in possession of everything in the world. But when the child assumed such heaviness, she had to put him down in order to give Trnavarta an opportunity to take him away and play with him for some time before the child returned to the lap of his mother. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So the pastime of Putana, as we discussed in the previous chapter, namely chapter 6, happened when Krishna was about 6 days, young infant, very, very young. Then at about third month, the pastime of Shakatasur happened. And now the time has passed. At about 12 months, when he's 1 year old, this pastime of Trnavarta happened. We all have seen this, and in fact, I was at Rath Yatra and I was picking up Prahlad and throwing him in the air, and he comes down and he's very happy. You know, he's laughing, he's joyful. So every child likes that. Every parent or adult likes to, also feels joyful in that process, seeing the joy of the child. So Mata Yashoda was doing that. She used to, throw the baby up in the air and catch the baby. And in that way, the baby feels very happy, and the mother or the father also feels very happy. It's kind of a joy ride, like an aerial joy ride. So, but Krishna knows everything. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mamtu vedana kashana. Krishna knows past, present, and future. What to speak of Krishna, even the great souls are called Trikala Darshi. Like Narad Muni, Trikala, Tri means three, Kala means time, three times, past, present, and future. Great souls know that. Like Srila Prabhupada pointed out to Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir. He was in that lane of Bharti Vidya Bhavan. She pointed there'll be a temple there in the future. And many decades later, at least 20, 30 years later, a beautiful temple came at the very same spot where Srila Prabhupada pointed. And so many other such pastimes are also there. So Krishna knew that Trnavarta is going to come, and Mata will not be able to bear that separation. Suddenly this whirlwind demon will take, and then Mata Yashoda would be bereaved. So Krishna, 1-year-old babies are not heavy, right? They're not heavy, but Krishna, he is the source of all mystics. He is the source, and one of the siddhis is Mahima, heavier than the heaviest. Anima, lighter than the lightest. Mahima, Lagima, Anima, smaller than the smallest, lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest. He can be anything. He has all the Ashtasiddhis. So that was one reason. And then Krishna also wanted to take an aerial view. Like these days they have drones to take an aerial view. Krishna wanted to get up in the sky. And the child go merry-go-round, and some different slides and joy rides are there. Krishna wanted to take the aerial view, giant wheels, skydiving, helicopter, all this is coming from there. Krishna is the source of everything. So Mata Yashoda was throwing him like 1 feet, 2 feet. Krishna said, hey, it'll be nice to have like 100 feet up, 200 feet, 1,000 feet up. People go for skydiving, adventure, fun, all this. Krishna is the source of everything. So another lesson which is here is that when the child is thrown up in the air, just imagine that the surrender of the child, rather than being scared, the child is joyful. Why? Because child knows that my mother or my father will grab me, right? The child knows that they're not going to just throw and run away and forget about me, and I'll bang on the hard ground. So that's the surrender of the child. Childlike simplicity, childlike surrender. So if we can also develop that, sometimes we are also thrown in life. Some hard times come. It's basically we are thrown. But if we have faith that Krishna is our supreme friend, master, brother, father, mother, well-wisher, although he has put me in this condition, which it seems very difficult, but my father will hold me. He's right there. Like Prahlad, Narsimha Chaturdashi is coming. Prahlad was thrown off the cliff, very, very high mountain cliffs. He was thrown off the cliffs. They were like Mount Sumeru. They were like thousands of miles high. But Prahlad's father, Sri Nrsingadev, Sri Vishnu, was there to catch him always. That's the faith, childlike surrender, childlike faith that my father will hold me. So it's another beautiful lesson we can see from this pastime. So to develop that faith, to develop that surrender, to develop that faith in the hands of God. I'm not alone. Krishna is with me. Yes, I'm in difficulty. Yes, I'm in a tough situation due to whatever reason, but my father is there. My mother is there. My real friend, my everything, my Prananath, Krishna will not leave me alone. He never leaves us alone. Only we forget him. So that way, Krishna was having a fun time, and suddenly he turned heavier. And Krishna also knew that now it's time to deliver Trnavartasura. And I don't want Yashoda to get involved in this whole thing, because if Krishna is in the hands of Yashoda Mata, then Trnavartasura, what will he do? He'll try to harm Yashoda and all that. So let's just let her. So she was tired, and then this mountain, like the word used is Giri Manam. Giri is mountain. So he became excessively heavy, like a mountain. Garimanam, the heaviness. He became very heavy. And then Giri Kotavat, sorry, the last word is there. I thought I read somewhere. Giri Kotavat, like a mountain, he became very heavy, mountain peak. So Krishna was put on the side. So let's see what happened further. Who wants to read next verse, text 19? Prem Sankirtan Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 19. Bhumao nidaya tam gopi, Bishmita bhara pirita, Mahapurusham adadhyao, Jagatam asha karmashu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Feeling the child to be as heavy as the entire universe, and therefore being anxious, thinking that perhaps the child was being attacked by some other ghost or demon, the astonished mother Yashoda put the child down on the ground and began to think of Narayan. Foreseeing disturbances, she called for the Brahmanas to counteract this heaviness, and then she engaged in her other household affairs. She had no alternative than to remember the lotus feet of Narayana, for she could not understand that Krishna was the original source of everything. Purport: Mother Yashoda did not understand that Krishna is the heaviest of all heavy things, and that Krishna rests within everything, Matstani Sarvabhutani. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tutam idam sarvam jagat abhyakta murtina. Krishna is everywhere in his impersonal form, and everything rests upon him. Nonetheless, not chaham teshu avastita. Krishna is not everywhere. Mother Yashoda was unable to understand this philosophy because she was dealing with Krishna as his real mother by the arrangement of Yogamaya. Not understanding the importance of Krishna, she could only seek shelter of Narayan for Krishna's safety and call the Brahmanas to counteract the situation. Hare Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that as Prabhu was mentioning before, that Krishna didn't want Mother Yashoda to take part in this lila, in this pastimes, killing Trnavartasura. So he became happy. So here he is actually, is both, we can see both Oshajya and Madhurya together. Is Mother Yashoda is in totally in Madhurya loss, and Krishna's happiness is Aishwarya. The Acharya says that, especially Srila Jiva Goswami is explained that Krishna has innumerable Shaktis, and among them, when the Brajalila is going on, there are 4 Shaktis. They don't leave Krishna. Like one is omnipotent, Sarvagatta. He knows everything. Even when he was 6 days, we heard just that when he killed Putana, he was just 6 days old. But he knew from the very beginning. So Sarvagatta, Sarva Shaktimatta, his power. Vibhut Tattva means he's big. I mean, he's. So there are another, I forgot, the 4 Shaktis, they don't leave Krishna because this is a drama. And Krishna is the main, but he instructed Yogamaya how to do that drama. And Yogamaya is doing that drama. And all the, the Paramahanshas, we read in Bhagavatam that the Paramahanshas, they release those pastimes. So all of them are watching, and that different actors are playing. So here Mother Yashoda is playing. So in front of Mother Yashoda, those Shaktis, actually, they don't come in front of her. So even though he is happy, but his body figure is like as Prabhuji was mentioning, that this pastime is when he is like 12 months old. So even he is like a 12-month-old, but his happiness, his vibhutattva, it means he's so big that things doesn't come up. We see that if we remember, when Bamandev came in front of Bali Maharaj and he showed his Aishwarya, just he became so big, inconceivable. But we see that same thing. He is so big that Mother Yashoda got all the ropes in Damodar Lila, but she couldn't bind him. So this is like, this is the, we know that Krishna has 4 extra quality. That is Lila Madhurya is one of them, Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, and Prema Madhurya. These 4 extra qualities, none of the other avatars have, only Krishna has. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had those 4. So we can see that he is doing the pastimes. That's the inconceivable pastimes. It never happened in any other avatars. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you. Please add your comment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So basically, Krishna is showing this siddhi of Mahima, heavier, became very heavy. I really like this point here, that Mata always is feeling that now the baby, how can, like, imagine, like, as a mother or as a father, suddenly your baby who weighs like 4 pounds, 5 pounds, right? That's what a normal 1-year-old baby would weigh, around that 4 or 5 pounds. And suddenly he weighs 50 pounds. Like, won't you be scared? Like, what's going on? You're like 4 or 5 pounds, and then how come he's like 50 pounds? Something happened. Just let's imagine ourselves. Let's put ourselves in that shoes of the mother. The mother was very nervous, scared. What's going on? Something has happened. A ghost has entered his body, or something has happened. A demon has entered. Something, they're trying to attack my dear child. She was very anxious. She was fearful. like, what is this going on? I was able to pick him easily and suddenly he's become so heavy. It's unnatural. It's impossible. How can this happen? So she is disturbed. And she is anticipating that some kind of disturbance is attacking my child. Now, it's a great lesson. When we are disturbed and we feel some imminent danger to ourselves or to our loved ones or to anyone, whom to approach? She approached the Brahmanas and she remembered the lotus feet. She had no alternative. I'm just repeating the line from the translation. So she called for the Brahmanas to counteract this heaviness. And she had no alternative than to remember the lotus feet of Lord Krishna or Narayana. For she could not understand the Krishna was the original source. So in short, basically, in times of difficulty, in times of distress, in times of fear, in times of any kind of difficulty, we must approach Guru and Gauranga, Brahmanas and the Supreme Lord, Narayana or Krishna. No other alternative. This is real, because Krishna is the real source of everything. So the Brahmanas, the Guru, the Vaishnavas, the Supreme Lord, by remembering him is the real solution to all problems. Of course, that does not mean, let's say the child gets hurt and the child, gets an injury and needs some stitches. We have to do the needful, but then like getting stitches and whatnot if required. But the real thing is that we must not forget the lotus feet of Krishna and the Brahmanas. Mata Yashoda is showing this again and again. Anything happens, they are calling the Brahmanas for the blessings, for the protection, for the swastiyayana, etc. Please take care of my child. Please pray for him. Please bless him. This is the heart of a mother. Any other comments anyone has before we move to the next one? Okay, so we'll move on to the next verse, text 20. Yes, Aswati Mataji, you want to read?
Pranam, devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji. Text 20. Daitya namna Trnavartaha kamsha vrityaha pranodita chakravata sarupena jaharashinam arvakam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. While the child was sitting on the ground, a demon named Trnavarta, who was a servant of Kamsa's, came there as a whirlwind at Kamsa's instigation and very easily carried the child away into the air. Purport. Krishna's heaviness was unbearable for the child's mother. But when Trnavartasura came, he immediately carried the child away. This was another demonstration of Krishna's inconceivable energy. When the Trnavarta demon came, Krishna became lighter than the grass, so that the demon could carry him away. This was Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, Krishna's blissful transcendental pleasure. So here Krishna, he always wants to do lila and to get the pleasure because he wants to kill the Trnavartasura by doing his lila. So that's why he was very light. Whereas when his mother carried, he was very heavy. So all depends upon Krishna's lila and how he wants to enjoy. That's his transcendental nature. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Daityo nama Trnavartaha. The demon whose name was Trnavartasura. Kamsa Bhritya. He was the servant of Kamsa. Bhritya means servant. Pranoditaha, having been induced by him. That means he was told, hey, you have an objective and your mission, your job statement, your goal is to kill Krishna, my Kal. Chakravata Swarupena. Chakravata. So he took a form, chakra, like a whirlpool, like a whirlwind, like a tornado, like a hurricane. Like, sometimes we have seen these tornadoes. They are so so harsh, isn't it? They can blow up the buildings. They can take the buildings with them. They can uproot like giant trees. They can cause a lot of havoc. They can do anything which comes in their way is basically sucked by the force of that tornado. So I'll show a video. Like you can see tornadoes. And get some glimpse of tornado. Maybe we'll see. Let's see this one.
Sorry, sandwich. Chips again. See that much?
They're on a mission.
Jesus!
They begin life into a monster. Tornadoes are powerful, spinning columns of air that stretch from the ground to the clouds. Most are relatively weak, but the few that grow into large events are extremely violent and cause immense destruction. Tornadoes occur on 6 of the 7 continents. The country with the most. All tornadoes are rated based on a system called the Enhanced Fujita Scale. The Enhanced Fujita, or E, with wind speeds between 65 to 85 miles per hour. EF5 tornadoes are the strongest, with wind speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour. One of the strongest tornadoes recorded occurred in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma in 1999. Born from a supercell thunderstorm, the EF5 tornado had wind speeds of over 300 miles per hour. It resulted in 36 fatalities, injured nearly 600, and caused about $1 billion in damages.
It just gives us a kind of a glimpse of what this Trnavarta must have been like. Very, very powerful. So he came like a whirlwind demon, like a tornado demon. And it's mentioned he very easily picked Krishna. Now, as the words say, Jahara Asinam Arvakam. The child was not now in the lap of Mata, the child was on the ground. And he was very easily able to. So Krishna first showed the mystic opulence of Mahima, heavier than the heaviest. And then later, Krishna showed the opulence of Laghima, lighter than the lightest, because he knows now Mata Yashoda has kept me aside. Now, if I become heavier than the heaviest, then the demon will not be able to take me up. Now, I'll not get the city's aerial view. Now, everyone wants to go for joyride and giant wheel and this ride and that ride. I want to also go up and experience the aerial view. So So to make the task of the Trnavartasura easy, Krishna became lighter than the lightest. Aniyan Mahato Mahyan. He is lighter than the lightest and the greater than the greatest. That's the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada mentions in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita this statement. That and that's actually mentioned, for the soul there is neither birth, neither death. Yes. I'll read this statement. There are two kinds of soul, namely the minute particle soul, that is the Anuatma, and the super soul, the Vibhuatma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad in this way. Aniyor Aniyan Mahato Mahyan Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guhyam Tam Akrito Pashyanti Vida Shoko Dhatu Prasadam Mahinam Atmanaha. Both the super soul and the atomic soul, the Paramatma and the Jivatma, are situated in the same tree, within the same heart of the living being. So, in short, the point here is that the super soul can be heavier than the heaviest and lighter than the lightest, which Krishna showed here. So he became light, in short, so that he was very easily carried in the air by the Trinavarta demon, so the demon could easily take him, as we saw in the pictures also here. This Trinavarta demon came and picked the child up in the sky, very, very high. Okay, so let's read the next verse, text 21. People Prabhu, you want to read, please? Sudhir Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, conduct pranam, Prabhupada. Father. Golokam sarvam avravan musnam chakshume si ran mehi irayan sumaha gore saptina prasido disha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
People Prabhu, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry, I got muted. You can hear me, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Covering the whole land of Gokula with particles of dust, that demon, acting as a strong whirlwind, covered everyone's vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. Trnavartasura assumed the form of a whirlwind and covered with a dust storm the whole tract of land known as Gokula, so that no one could see even the nearest thing. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Back to
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Gokulam, as we just saw in one of the tornado videos, that the effect they can cause, like the whole city was, which we just saw in 1999, the tornado, like blew away the whole city practically. So in this way, in this land of Gokulam, Sarvam, Gokulam, Sarvam, everywhere, Avrinvan, covered with what? covered Mushanams chakshushmi renubhi. Renu means dust, the particles of dust. So in short, by the effect, and this like pulls away all the wherever it goes, it just like in whirlpool, like whirlwind demon was covering the dust. Was the whole land of Gokula was practically covered with dust. So when there is dust everywhere, what happens? One is not able to see, right? It's quite natural. When there is dust everywhere, so this demon, covered everyone's eyes with dust so that they could not see. In short, it was all Krishna's arrangement also. Because otherwise they'll be more concerned, right, about Krishna. So Trnavartasura, this dig away this big grasses with this Trnavarta. Trina means grass, right? Trina. Dante Trinadhari Kora, Dakiye Tumara, Kripa Koro Esho Amar, Hridaya Mandire. This bhajan we sing. Gauranga Korona Koro, Dinahina Jani, Mosama Patita Prabhu, Nahi Tribhuvani. Dante Trinadhari Gora, Dakiye Tumara. Dante Trinadhari Gora, holding a grass in the teeth. That's a sign of humility. So Trina also means grass. One should be humble like a blade of grass, but this Trnavarta means it was so powerful, it will put away like even tough grasses, very big grasses, it will pull away with the pressure, with the force of that whirlwind, like what in physics, that kind of a suction, like a vacuum was created, and everything which comes in its way was pulled. And we saw in the video, like the roofs were up taken, the cars were upside down, anything which comes in the way of this tornado demon, this whirlwind demon, is basically uprooted. So no one could see anything. Another lesson is that demons try to cover our eyes with dust. The doubts, the demons of doubt, the demons of bad association, the demons of other things which are not conducive to bhakti, and they fade our vision to see Krishna. Is it not? They become an obstacle in our Krishna consciousness. They become an obstacle to see Krishna. The demons of doubts don't let us see Krishna properly. The demons of doubts don't let us practice bhakti properly. The demons of doubts take us away from devotees. The demons of doubt create problems in the Vaishnava relationships. And therefore we need Guru, who removes these doubts. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam. So the Guru gives our eyes the spiritual vision to see Krishna, but the demons try to put dirt so that we can't see Krishna. Isn't it beautiful? Now the choice is ours, to be in the demoniac association or to be in the saintly association. Whether we want to blur our vision to not see Krishna, or we want to purify our vision by being in the association of Guru Sadhu Shastra. So our heart, our eyes can be cleansed to see Krishna properly. The choice is ours. Any more comments anyone has in this few verses so far?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. Pranam. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji. I was just thinking about the Trnavartasura Prabhuji. It's what you just said is it's totally what I was. I felt it also. It's like, if you are, it's very small, like a grass, like Trna means like a grass. I think it's very small, but as we leave, it's a grass, and if you don't, and if it's small, it's okay. But it could get powerful, and it completely uproot our intelligence. Is what one other thing which kind of caught me as well. And we also have one saying that like a small plant, if you are not able to bend a small plant, how can you bend a big tree, right? The same thing kind of correlated to me, strike me as well. But I just want to share those two things that strike my mind when you are talking about that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's a beautiful reflection. That even small things, small Trina-like doubts or Trina-like bad propensities can cause us a big thing. His Grace Vishka Prabhu was mentioning in one of his classes that you may have heard, some of you may have heard, this is called micro trash. There are fishes which go from, I don't know which sea to which sea, but they go from this sea in California or lake in California, and then they have to come back. So this park ranger, where there's a big lake in this national park, and he was clearing these micro trash, and Prabhu asked him, like, what are you doing? So he explained that I'm clearing the micro trash from the way of the fishes. And he asked why. He said, because the fishes, how they come back to their, they migrate in the season, different season, and then they have to come back to their home grounds. How they they back by smelling. If the sense of smell is prominent, how they come back. But if there are micro trash in their way, they will get disturbed and they will not get back to their home. Prabhu really elaborated in a spiritual way. Similarly, when there are micro trash in our life, they will affect our journey. Micro trash referring to Trina, as Prabhu mentioned, the Trina. That micro trash can affect our journey back home, back to Godhead. I am in the field of continuous improvement. So in the continuous improvement, it is said that like a flight, imagine a flight taking off from New Delhi to New York. If there is a drift in the angle about 2 degrees, 2 degrees may seem very insignificant, right? Or even just 1 degree, just imagine in the trajectory of the flight, this is 1 degree different, very minor difference. But after 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles, whatever the distance between New York to New Delhi, so one flight will land in New Delhi and the other flight will probably land in maybe Washington or Florida. Just slight difference. So we have to constantly be on guard of these Trina-like doubts and keep clearing them. These are like weeds, as Lord Chaitanya also mentioned. Trina also can refer to the weeds of different weeds naturally come. No one wants weeds, still weeds come. Similarly, in the garden of bhakti, which you're trying to sow the bhakti lata beach by pouring the bhakti lata, Sravanadi jal, the weeds will come. So we have to constantly take out those weeds which cloud the seed, which cloud the bhakti lata, which cloud the seed of devotion. So thank you for that beautiful reflection. Anyone else before we wrap up for today? So we'll let Krishna take his joy ride in the air. He's moving along in Trnavarta. But we will take a pause here for next 4 days. Because next 4 days, His Grace Amrinder Prabhu is in Fort Lauderdale and he's going to speak Krishna Katha. By Krishna's mercy, and if he is willing, then I plan to go physically, but the Zoom links will be shared with all of you, so you can please take part in the Zoom. The classes will be beginning around 6 p.m. for the weekdays and 5 for the weekends. So please try to join them as far as possible. And then on Monday, we will resume back to our Trnavat story, but Krishna is having a joyride until then. So thank you. Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much.